I'm Joyce Yung. I'm a photographer, film producer, podcaster. Make sure you also follow us and subscribe to the Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube for H and Powerhouse. Co-hosted with Nicole from H and NFT, amazing collection. Beautiful artwork by Mr. Hike in celebrating diversity and female empowerment while focusing on building community. So one of Lily Wu, co-founder of Wow Pixies, also startup partner lead at Stripe and an illustrator, and so much more. So I'm looking forward to talking to her and she can describe her journey as well. Let's get started. So Lily, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about Wow Pixies first and how you got started into that.
Thanks for having me. Really, really honored to be here. My name is Lily. I am the co-founder of Wow Pixies DAO. We are the first social DAO to invest into the women-led ecosystem. We raised $2 million in 4 days using NFTs to help fundraise and buy up other women-led projects so that women who don't typically have the opportunity to fundraise with VCs can have the opportunity for their fans, their consumers to support them in this new space. A bit about myself, I have a day job at Stripe. I'm a startup partner lead. I work directly with a lot of VCs and accelerators in the Southeast Asia, plus Greater China ecosystem, building up startups. So I see very much on a day-to-day basis how little funding go to women within venture capital. So that's kind of what attracted me into the NFT and DAO space to begin with.
That's amazing. Can you talk a little bit more how you started the idea? I mean, it's great that other women-led NFTs and you come up with the DAO to actually then, invest in all the NFTs so that people will have awareness and get the ball rolling for different NFT projects as well. So that's an amazing concept. We'd love to hear a bit more about how that transpired.
Yeah, so I got into the NFT space in March last year because I am also an artist, an illustrator. My parents were both artists and I grew up drawing a lot. And so in the beginning of last year, I was actually employed, had gotten a job at Apple. And unfortunately, it fell through because of some visa issues since I'm an Australian working in Singapore. And so because of that unexpected period, I was unemployed for 4 months. And so whilst I was looking for a new job, I started doing commissions, a lot of commissions for friends, families, people around Instagram called the Traveling Sketchbook. During that period, a lot of my friends would say, hey, you should look into NFTs. This guy people just sold $70 million. I don't know what it is, but you should look into it. I'm into my first thing in March or April. I spent $200 and was like, why did I spend this money? I have no idea what is happening. A few months later, I bought my first NFT and that was Cool Cats. Closely after I bought World of Women when it had just minted. At the time, I didn't see a lot of women representation. I was like, wow, asking my friend, should I get this? I love this art. And my friend said, hey, I don't recommend it because 90% of the space are men. It's never going to do well because men just wouldn't relate to this type of art. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's very cynical. I'm going to buy 3. So I bought 3 World of Women NFTs and immediately the next day, Gary Vee posted about it. It went from 0.3 to 2 ETH and I sold it both, 2 of them for 2 and 2.5 ETH the next day. That's kind of how I got into this rabbit hole. I was like, holy crap, what is this thing? And so, as I was kind of looking more deeply in the space, I started subconsciously buying more and more women-led projects. And the reason was because first of all, I love the idea that artists, creators were able to generate revenue, but also in perpetuity, this kind of royalty aspect. The other thing was that when I first saw projects like Boss Beauties, I was like, wow, these are women entrepreneurs who have been doing business for 10 years. They're not going anywhere. So if I put my money into them, they're going to keep going no matter whether market at the moment goes up or down. Women tend to do it for the long run, for the tenacity. It's hard to raise money anyway, so you have to find sustainables of income. Okay, I'm gonna start buying more and more into women-led projects. Wow Pixies DAO really was, a tribute initially to World of Women. That's why my 2 co-founders, both World of Women, we met through the World of Women Discord. And we wanted to create a DAO where we could first buy the World of Women royalty NFT, which splits 2% of royalty transactions amongst 19 holders that hold a specific World of Women NFT. And then we would use that money, generated monthly revenue, to help and also buy up and basically support other women entrepreneurs in the space. By doing that, we can then pass on the benefits those NFTs hold to our members as well, who cannot afford at the time 10 ETH for one World of Women.
That's a great idea and amazing journey.
I actually didn't know about that story. Are you saying that it's kind of like a fractionalization of the World of Women? Because you said it's divided by 19 holders, right?
So World of Women token itself within its collection, it's not publicly like super well known because they've taken it from the website. Obviously, there's probably some security questions, but since it's a very low number and people don't buy World of Women for the royalties, it's kind of borderline not a security. What it is that when they launched, there's specifically 19 royalty World of Women that have a coin necklace and a coin earrings. The thing was like for 18 months, they would split 2% of all of monthly royalties amongst these 19 NFTs that have the coin earrings and coin necklace. And so one of the first things we did as a DAO was to make sure that we can tie our success as well to a more higher volume transaction project. And so we bought that so that it would give us at least another 12 months runway, because sometimes you just can't rely on your monthly royalties to keep afloat. We bought it for 135 ETH, and the first month we got it already paid us 23 ETH. And so, if you imagine 6 months, 8 months, it would have paid back the NFT, and then it would be another 4 months, 5 months of profit, and then we can still sell the NFT. As a byproduct, a lot of the things that the World of Women project has, we would, have all the monthly airdrops, art drops. We also allow our Pixie members to swap Pixies for items within the vault at the moment. And so it gives our community members kind of a portal into the World of Women kind of ecosystem, but also all of the other 13, 14 different projects that we have bought into as well.
Wait, what? Did you just say that your vault, like you bought World of Women for 100 ETH?
Yeah, and
That's insane.
It's a royalty one, so it gives us monthly royalties. That's why.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, and because we put such a big investment in it, that's why it's a derivative of World of Women.
Okay, now it makes sense. Wow. So that World of Women, was it a good investment then?
Yeah, I think so. Right now, it's paid off around more than half of the one that we've already bought. So, it will at least give us some, extra runway for the rest of this year. And then, then we can still sell it.
Do you know, like, who are the rest of the 17 holders? I mean, like, if you guys hold one of them.
You can probably just check on OpenSea and see who are the holders.
Like, do you know if it's anyone, like, reputable or something?
We bought it off OX7, who was a major World of Women holder, but I'm actually not sure who the rest of the holders are. I'm pretty sure one of the celebrities bought one.
If you do my research, then I will update you guys.
I know. I think Nicole's going to go after this and go buy one.
Yeah, I'm like, that's like homework. Yeah, I'm going to assign it to my teams. Like, let's find out who are the rest of the holders.
Yeah, so I'm slightly confused then. If someone, buy the Wow Pixies NFT, you're saying some of the benefits are passed to the Wow Pixie holders. Is that
correct?
Is that part of the... Okay.
So it's a couple of ways. The first way is that, when we partner, we try to buy pretty diversified number of projects that serve different purposes. And we will also put out a proposal to buy Asian later so that we can also partner on a couple of things. Typically,
let's go.
But for example, for projects like Curious Addies, they're an educational NFT. They've built 3 courses with Nas Academy surrounding like intro to NFTs, like intro to Web3, to crypto and to web development in Web3. They're each worth around like $150. These courses alone are worth almost, $500. And so we bought 40 or so Curious Addies, and they gave us almost like 200 codes, and everyone who was a Wow Pixie was given access for a period of time, whoever wanted to put their wallet in to log into Nas Academy and do those courses. And also because Curious Addies is now a partner of Zen Academy, then we can say, hey, we have 40 Curious Addies. So 40 of our members can go into Zen Academy's courses, but also their Discord as well. So there's that flow effect of the perks that are given to our holders. Likewise, for Meta Angels, they have that YC kind of accelerator for Web3. And so because they have the lending function in their smart contract, we can physically just lend out our Meta Angels once a month to holders who want to participate in those accelerators or in their kind of art programs with Adobe, etc. So each of those, we try to find what are the benefits. And, Flower Girls, we're going to do partnerships with them as well since we hold Flower Girls. So each of those, since we hold them, their benefits, and whenever they hold competitions, we can also participate through the DAO and give those rewards to our holders.
That is super interesting and seems very very much value added, right? In terms of those starting out or just kind of getting out of just collecting NFTs. NFT in itself, this sounds amazing. Was it hard because you've done different type of, well, professionally you've done have different journeys. Was it difficult to then start the DAO? Yeah, how much of a learning curve did you have to get up to speed and learning all this and putting it all together at the same time?
A bit about my personal journey. I like what I said previously, like both my parents were artists, and so the first time I saw NFTs, I saw a huge potential of like, wow, if my parents sold an art and that art was resold for $1 million, now they would be able to get royalties. Because during the financial crisis when I was 15 or 16, my parents went through a really tough time. Were making maybe like $100 a week, and so they had to sell. They had a gallery. They had to sell the gallery. They went back to China, and that was kind of the period when I first discovered entrepreneurship, mainly out of desperation and also out of my own interest. But I tried, getting jobs at McDonald's and KFC, just couldn't find one, kept getting rejected. And so I started arbitraging these Adidas Jeremy Scott collab shoes from the US. I had a friend whose parents owned an outlet in the US. And so I asked them, how much would it be to ship these to Australia and wholesale? Long story short, I created this kind of arbitrage business. It was very honestly like a simple business model on getting my different networks to resell. And by the time I was 18, I made around $500,000 in profit. So I bought a property, I moved out, I went into accounting my first year, and which is really random. I was like, oh, accounting is the basis of business. And so I had an existential crisis. I just wanted to honestly look fancy in a big office. But after 1 year, I quit. And I was like, there's kind of like 3 things I want to sell. The first was when I quit, a lot of my friends would tell me, you don't know how lucky you are. You don't know how competitive it is to get one of these positions. I would die to go and work in your position. I was like, you know what? I'm really lucky. Like, I'm lucky to know what I never want to do again. The second business I started was, an education company. And it was also completely by accident. It basically was running 3-week career boot camps around the world. And so it was in Singapore, Hong Kong, Sydney, Melbourne, Shanghai, New York, San Francisco. Basically, in those 3 weeks, we would teach students entrepreneurial skills, basically transferable skills where the company would give a problem they're facing. Within 1 week, they would have to go out, find out what the problem is, prototype something, and execute and pitch it back to the company. And I think at that point, having done this for 5 years, we grew it to a 7-figure business. I ended up exiting and selling the IP to another company. And so it really taught me a lot about finding what the problem is, finding how to create really simple prototypes with no money. Sometimes no money is a constraint to begin with. That journey was like, wow, we really need to adapt to new trends and to make sure that even, I studied commercial law and accounting. Both of those things I'm never going to touch again. It really was important for me to be like, what are the innate skills that I can develop so that it doesn't matter where this industries go, it doesn't matter where the world goes, I can still adapt myself. After that, I joined another edutech startup in Singapore, helped them raise Series A before I joined Stripe. I think coming into Web3, I've just been led by a sense of curiosity over anything. And I think that, creating this DAO, I thought, it makes sense. I don't know anything about DAOs when I started. So I just knew that, NFTs are a token and DAOs typically have a token. If I want to give away kind of ownership, that a community has that sense of ownership where they can direct decision making, then why not just use NFTs as the token to make those decisions? That's kind of the philosophy that we went in. And we're just also continuing to make things up as we go. And I think this space is innovating as we speak. Cole has done such a great job innovating with NFT IP and leading the way with that. And I think that just all comes with experimentation, adapting, often not knowing what we're doing, but being okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing to hear your previous 2 business, completely different, but being so brave to be able to pivot or see that opportunity and just completely change without prior background in that particular field. But of course, you have background in terms of running a business, and as you said, you've done the kind of business side of things, the law, the accounting. So that's just so inspiring to hear that just kind of be brave and go towards that there's a problem you want to solve, and you just find a solution. And as you mentioned too, like Cole, also I'm just watching all the collaborations recently you've been doing with your H and NFT and with the IP. It's just amazing. So maybe Nicole, you can kind of talk a little bit about your latest with Uniqlo and more to come. I know. I guess what's the idea and how you shifted NFT into kind of not just NFT for profile pic, but it is really IP around it.
Yeah, for sure. But I really admire Lily for her stories, and I actually didn't know that. And now that I know what you've been through in the past, I think I really, respect you more. And you're such an entrepreneur yourself. I think you do like inspire a lot of people around you, which I think is really important, because especially with this space where it's so new, where people are like so afraid to try. And I feel that a lot of the times, if you don't try, you wouldn't know like the outcome. So a lot of the things that I have learned for jumping into the space, like even like coding and all these kind of things, like all these technical things which I never thought that I would learn, eventually I just picked it up because I just had to know like some lines of codes before, minting or like deploying the contract. So a lot of the things you can learn online. I'm so grateful for Google and for internet and for YouTube. You can literally learn to do anything in like online. Yeah, so as like an NFT founder, I just recently realized that I was actually minting IPs and just minting photos. I do think that all NFT projects are slowly realizing that at the end of the day, other than our awesome community, we actually like the true value of our NFT projects are the artwork, and that is IP itself. But yeah, we have the Uniqlo collab and all these other amazing things. That the Uniqlo collab will definitely shift a lot of things in the space. I mean, a lot of NFT projects will actually look at the space differently in terms of collaborations as well. I know that last time all the collaborations that everyone has been doing, it's kind of like a whitelist collaboration, or like everything is a very digital collaboration. But with all these brands coming into the space, even with Uniqlo, right? When I first reached out to them, it's kind of almost impossible for them to even agree to me, because they said that, oh, we have actually never done like a collaboration with an NFT project. So the fact that they actually said yes to us shows that if Uniqlo can say yes to us, I think there are no other brands out there that would not do a collaboration with the NFT project. So this is why I do think that if you're an NFT project, things like that, you should definitely have your IP out there. You should definitely have like a simple trademark, like a logo trademark, or like IP your artwork, because that is a true value. It's just like how Disney owns the IP of Mickey Mouse. And if you kind of like print anything, I mean, if you print Mickey Mouse on anything, and they can actually come after you because that is not your IP. Really exciting to see where this space is heading. But I do have a question for Lily. So, well, I'm not that familiar with DAOs as well, but how do you decide what NFTs to buy? Do you have like a weird story or like a awkward situation in the DAO that has happened?
That's a really great question. So within the DAO, how we structure it is we create a framework on everybody putting in suggestions based on a series of criteria. Asian was on it as well. And people do their research to see what is the attraction, who are the founders, are they dogs, blah, 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 kind of just like all that research stuff. And then it's narrowed down by the curator group, picks, the top couple of options, and then it kind of goes up into the DAO for a vote. But generally speaking, the ones that have already been put in is put in by the community. There was a really kind of divided topic. So we had bought Crypto Chicks back in the day. Obviously with that, like for those who were in the space at the time, they found that, the artist had imitated, I think, a Brazilian artist, illustrator. It created a huge uproar. And I think at the time, my panic instinct was, oh my gosh, we need to sell it. Like, how could we support something like that where something has been just outright copied? It was really interesting in the discussion, because people then said, hey, this is my opinion, but I think we should wait until the leadership team has come out with something. There was both ways of like, do we sell it because it means that we are supporting someone who's like outright copied another artist, or do we not sell it because then we're putting our bags onto somebody else and someone else is buying it, maybe unintentionally and not knowing, and kind of dumping it on them. And so even though, in a typical sense, maybe as an owner, I would have just sold it. The thing is, with our community, they're very intentional. We have a lot of lawyers. We have a lot of really intelligent people. And so there was a lot of very much kind of intellectual debate on what to do in the situation. And at the end of the day, it still goes up to the vote. Whichever one wins is the majority, and everyone accepts that that's the outcome, whether you initially wanted it or not. And so there are several times where maybe I wouldn't have picked that particular choice, but I was like, wow, my mind has changed. So I think it does have its perks in terms of, sometimes with these situations, being able to see different views, and as long as it's kept respectful, I think it has its benefits.
Is there like a particular amount, like how many needs to vote, like 100 or like 500?
At the moment, there's no particular amount. So we did vote in the beginning for non-urgent votes. Amount is around 24 to 48 hours. And then if it's an urgent vote, it would be 6 to 12 hours.
And that's everyone that has an NFT, has a Wow Pixie will have like one vote per NFT?
Correct.
That's quite that's quite a lot of opinions to manage as well. Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
So what
Nicole.
is the outcome? Like, did they sell it?
So the first vote that we had was whether or not to sell it straight away, and most people voted for let's wait until the team comes out with whatever they came out with. And then the second one was more like, should we sell some or not? And so I think at the end we sold a portion of it, but we still have some left.
I see. Wait, but
Yeah.
then did you guys even clarify if that incident really happened, or is it something that like someone FUD and then?
No, it was clarified by the
Oh, it was
team.
clarified.
That's why we waited for the team to put out their official notice first. So rather than just like reacting to and could have just been FUD. So what they did ended up doing was they got rid of the main artist, they transferred the ownership to a new team. And so now I think they were trying to rectify it because the team had no idea. And so they ended up also working with that original artist for something. I think it's good now.
I see. That's good. At least they have a happy ending. I didn't even know that happened, but now I know. Yeah.
A lot of things happen very fast. So yeah, it's really quick to lose track.
I saw that on Twitter, all over Twitter that time too. So it was quite interesting to follow what was going on. Also, you both mentioned it just happened so fast, and there's so many different types of problems, I guess, in this space because also it's growing so fast and not so much regulation. In addition to this, you must see a lot of scam, or maybe not scam, but just kind of general loopholes. Yeah, how does a general person investing in this deal with that, or as a DAO and as a project, how do you deal with it as well?
Generally, when we look at projects, definitely we tend not to buy projects like at the very early stages. We do want to see some traction and some, level of execution over a period of time before we invest into it. So that really helps prevent it from accidentally buying into a rug. But even if we do, then that's a lesson learned. Generally speaking, none of the projects we've bought into so far have been rugs or have been too terrible.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, that speaks to the research and observation that you guys do as well. So when you buy the project, sorry, just going back because Nicole did ask about that as well. So the DAO votes on it, and then you also mentioned it goes to a greater team. So how does that work? The second layer in terms of voting on it.
Right. So we have two clubs. One is a Q club and one is a charity club. And so the curator club is a pixie that has rainbow purple hair. There's only 10 of them. When we first minted, those went for extremely high prices. Because there are so many voices within the DAO, the curator club helps narrow down those aspects to the things that we want to focus on based on the criteria that we have and the priorities that we have. So it's just a smaller kind of group to help narrow it down. That's basically what it is. The charity club also does the same thing because we automatically donate 5% of our secondary transactions. The charity club puts together kind of charity recommendations and we pick one to donate to every month.
So do you see an improvement over, last few months in terms of navigating the space, security related in terms of, being careful, not just what you invest in, but just being careful with your NFTs, right? Because again, it's not as secure as traditional tools or banking tools, let's say. Do you see improvement or any organization that's actually coming together to do more to help secure the space?
Personally, in February, my wallet got hacked. I think immediately after the Wow Pixie mint, my wallet got hacked. I still don't know what happened because I didn't click on any fishy links. But I think with the amount of my personal security, I had my seed phrase on a Notion doc. So that was definitely not secure. It's going to happen one way or another. But I think then I was like, wow, this is a wake-up call. Put everything, write everything down, pen and paper, and put passwords in LastPass and make sure it's randomized. Part of it is there's not a lot of tooling that is so user-friendly and that prevents these kind of things. So I think it is getting built at the moment to make sure that kind of identity layer, how can you tell if someone has launched a project that is actually from the artist and not just from some person? Like, how do you verify that? I've been talking to some different marketplaces like Kraken, and they're building these identity layers to make sure that you say who you say you are. I'm not don't know what all the newest progressions are in terms of the wallet security, but personally, I've definitely made sure to protect myself more. And we have some educational stuff to help our pixies also protect their own wallets too.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about the February, but yeah, it's really scary in that sense. But as you said, make sure to then have steps in place to secure the wallets. And that is something that kind of on mine as well, just to see, and surprising that not a lot of the larger organizations or even OpenSea, they don't really do anything about it, right? So but it's good to hear there are some conversations going on. Both you and Nicole, both of your collections are part of the Hug cohort. I was curious, can you guys tell us more about your experience?
Yeah, I feel like my number one most grateful thing for the Hug is meeting Nicole. It really gave us an opportunity.
Yeah, wait, that is something that I'm grateful for too. I think we are kind of like best friends in the Web3 space. Yeah. And also, fun fact, my name is actually Lily too. So my Chinese name is Lily.
We're basically Web3 twins.
So like the other day in Singapore, she was my moderator. Like she was the host, and then now I'm your host. You see?
Oh yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. Wait, so I want to go back to the scams and the wallets and stuff like that. And I think that this is not being said enough. But each time you mint something, or each time whenever you connect your wallet, do always go to what is it called? I think it's called something cash.
Revoke cash.
Oh yeah, revoke cash. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that one. So go revoke cash, and I think that really helps. And it's because I've been connecting to all these bunch of things. Yeah, and then sometimes there's a bug in it, and then that's how all these hackers, they'll just like wipe your wallets out, wipe your NFTs out and stuff. And also, I'm not sure if this is true, but then I have been talking to all of my friends that have been hacked before, and I always ask them this question: is if they have their seed phrase in their iCloud, and most of the time it's a yes. So
yeah, not anymore.
So honestly, I'm not sure if it's like a data leak. I really don't know. I don't want to blame iCloud for this.
If you take a photo of your seed phrase, it 100% will get hacked.
My team member in Asian, she got her wallet hacked, and then I asked her, I said, where is the seed phrase? And she said it's only in her iNote. And her iNote has like a password, and it's on the iCloud. So it's either her friend saw her iPad, or maybe her friend saw her laptop and maybe went to the notes. I'm not sure. Then later on, it happened to a few of my friends as well. They said that the seed phrase is nowhere else, but only in the iCloud, like in the notes.
Yeah.
So
don't put anything that connects to the internet. Mine was also Notion, and I also thought it was secure because it, passworded with Gmail, and I also have a security key, which Stripe gives me. Even with YubiKey, my Notion still got hacked. And the only reason why I knew it was my Notion got hacked was because they took my hard wallet funds too, and I had my hard wallet was nowhere near me.
Oh my god,
that's
crazy.
Huh. Okay.
So, and I had just gotten the hard wallet, so I had just put the seed phrase in that Notion doc, and that's the only place I had it. So the fact that they took my money out of my hard wallet too meant that they hacked my Notion.
So literally have to write it down somewhere.
Yeah,
Can't be hacked.
I gotta have it on like a rock then. I feel like this is something that not people are talk enough about. So I think all these can be avoided if we have enough education on it. And I think the revoke cash is not being used enough.
It's super scary. It's listening to your experience as well. It's just to see. Yeah, I gotta change some things that I'm doing right now. So moving on. No, what's the next trend for Web3 and NFT?
Well, I'm really excited for what's next. In terms of Wow Pixies as a DAO, we have a couple of initiatives. The first one was that, we had started these workstations a few months ago where people can be voted in to become workstation leads, and we pay through the DAO to these workstation leads in marketing leads, partnerships leads. Now we have a commercial lead as well. And so these leads, we mint their experience on the blockchain as well as an NFT after the 3-month period. And a lot of them have gotten hired, like our partnerships lead, Diana, she got hired as full-time at World of Women. Other community, Courtney, she's now working at another 2 kind of Web3 companies. This is a great way for people to experience and to execute ideas and get paid for it. And so do contributors. And one of the things that I'm really excited by is because we voted in commercial leads, we are starting to do kind of venture building on women-led IP. And so that's why I'm really excited to buy an Asian, so I can our DAO can collaborate with Asian and future kind of physical items as well, and have that as part of the IP that's used. We're going to be starting to monetize and commercialize different, create storylines or lore around specific IP. And so we have a World of Women Night Goddess, which is also worth a lot, but also like Boss Beauties and the Women and Weapons. And so we want to start commercializing those things. We also are launching kind of the first DAO created NFT collection called Pixies World. This new collection is completely separate, and like Nicole said, it's really important for us to have IP, and since Wow Pixies is a derivative, this new collection will have its own IP that its holders can commercialize as well. We voted in the artist from our DAO. We held a competition. The DAO voted on the artist that would be the person doing the next collection. And then we had a process where everyone could submit the ideas around lore, around the utility, around all of the different traits. So we kind of co-built this NFT collection together. I'm kind of in the final phase. For that one, it's a lot around skill building. We're partnering with Decentraland and Naz Academy to build a first apprenticeship to earn model where event organizers who want to transition into a Web3 career can get verified by Decentraland after they finish the course as an official event consultant on kind of as a metaverse consultant. So that's a lot of things that we're working on.
That is. That's actually really exciting, like what you guys are doing. I do see like on the back on what you guys are building, and I do see that there is a huge potential. And when you mentioned about all the NFT IPs that you own, I think that is like the perfect squad goal. You put Asian, you put World of Women, and Women of Weapons, you put Boss Beauty together. I would want to see them fight. It's like an Avengers movie. We should make it happen one day. We should like sign with like a production company and kind of like bring them to life, because you typically own the IP. You can actually make them like a superhero, right?
Absolutely, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's an idea. You see, it's gonna happen like in 5 years. Then we can play back today's clip and be like, oh yeah, we said this today, 1st of September 2022. I saw like the news that Hermes actually filed trademarked and IP'd for their digital asset in the metaverse, because they plan to build more assets in the metaverse. I love handbags, and that is something really exciting to like all of your favorite brands jumping into the space. Really exciting. And for Asian, I would say that we just secured like a huge collaboration with Uniqlo and Asian. I think that is something really special to me, because my team and I, we have put in about like 5 months of effort, a lot of calls, a lot of front and back, a lot of cold callings, emailing, and it's really exciting to see like your product come to life in stores. Especially like I actually walked past, I was in the city, and I actually saw like my tote bag, and I was like, wait, that's my tote bag in the middle of the road, like somebody just using Asian tote bag. And I think they don't know what it is, they might just think it's an artwork. So hopefully with more and more collaborations and putting Asian out there, out in the wild, people are able to explore more about NFTs, get more women on the space, get more Asians in space, like not just Asian, like anyone, like everyone. So that is exciting. I think the next few months we have onboarded a few new teams, like Web2 partnerships. I do foresee that the market might still be at this stage, but we will still be continue building, and we do have new team members coming in to really focus on a lot of Web2 partnerships. So yeah, really exciting.
I'm very excited for you and very proud of you as well.
Thank
So
you.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm proud of you as well. Like I feel that it's not easy, especially like during the bear market, and a lot of things can look pretty depressed at sometimes. When you look at the market, and a lot of the project we do hold ETH. So whenever the market goes down, half of our value just goes like down the drain. But then at the same time, this is why I do think that for all NFT projects, we can't just be relying on royalties. So this is why, at the end of the day, we are a company. We will need to make sure that we have income, not just income, but, you are able to kind of like sustain the company, because we do have real people working in here, sustaining the brand, posting social media, and they do need money to survive. So this is why it's good to have some financial planning as well, projection of the next few months of the crypto market, and then if it's good to sell, do sell some, so that you can have enough funds to roll the company. So this is something that I have learned the hard way, but we are still learning at the end of the day, and I'm really grateful for such an amazing team. Thanks for sharing your journey into the crypto space and the NFT market. It was a really good session.
I'm just in awe of listening to both of you. That's why I'm like, okay, wow, this is so cool. So inspiring, both of you, both journey and in continued journey in the NFTs and Web3 space, and just kind of forging ahead with your own, ideas and being creative in the space. So that's so exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing more projects in collaboration, and maybe any last words in terms of how everyone can help. I mean, I know obviously you're both women-led projects and both huge advocate of female in, the Web3 space. So any other word of advice, and what can everyone else do?
Buy an Asian.
Well, yeah,
Buy
I was
a
just
World
gonna
of
say, I was like,
Pixies.
support us, buy Wow Pixies, buy an Asian. They're quite,
Yes, for
affordable at the
sure.
moment.
Even if you don't hold one, I think just like in general, just like talking about the project, or even like tweeting about us, or just liking our stuff, I think that could go a long way as well. Because I do notice each time I talk to like a Web2 company on like a potential collaboration, they will actually ask me like, how many likes do you have, or how many followers do you have? And I think numbers do matter to them, because that's how they kind of look at our potential and our growth. So I do think that, just by supporting, just by tweeting, commenting, liking, and sharing, I think that would really give us a lot of other opportunities as well for more people to explore our project. So at the end of the day, we are here to stay, and I'm really excited to see where Asian and Wow Pixies will go. I would want to, like 5 years later, I want to look back at today and just see like how much we have grown, because it has only been 8 months since we sold out. There's so many things that we have achieved together, and I think that is what keeps us really exciting about the space.
Couldn't agree more. We'll be here building into an empire.
Yep, let's go. I'm bullish.
Sounds amazing. Looking forward to both empires, and looking forward to maybe in 5 years or maybe less to see the superheroes.
Yeah, maybe 5 months. Who knows?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
5 years is 5 months in this space. We can
That's
go
true.
start looking for it now.
Anything could happen.
That's true.
Honestly, yeah.
Honestly,
All right.
yeah.
Thanks, Joyce, for
Sounds good. Thank you.
today. Thanks, Lily, for agreeing
Thank
to do
you.
this podcast. And
Yeah,
looking
thanks for
forward to
having
seeing
me.
you in Singapore.
Yes, see you soon.
That's good. Thank you.
Have a
And thank you,
nice-
everyone.
Bye.
Stay tuned for the next. Thank you. Bye.